In the ruins of a world torn apart by the most destructive war in human history, a new chapter was about to begin. The year was 1945. After 6 years of brutal conflict, World War II had finally come to an end. Europe lay in ruins, its cities reduced to rubble by years of relentless bombing. The Third Reich, Hitler's grand vision of a 1,000-year empire, had crumbled into dust. In this chaos and devastation, the Allied forces began the arduous task of hunting down the architects of the Nazi regime. Men like Hermann Göring, Heinrich Himmler, and Adolf Eichmann, who had once strutted the world stage with impunity, now found themselves the most wanted men in the world. As the Allies captured these key figures and others, the true scale of the horror they had unleashed began to emerge. The liberation of concentration camps like Auschwitz and Dachau revealed the systematic genocide of 6 million Jews, a crime against humanity that would forever be known as the Holocaust. The world reacted with shock and disbelief. How could such atrocities have been committed in the heart of civilized Europe? How could a modern, educated nation have been led down such a dark and destructive path? In the face of such monstrous crimes, the Allies faced a daunting challenge: how to bring the perpetrators to justice. Traditional forms of justice seemed inadequate to deal with the enormity of the crimes committed. A new approach was needed, one that would not only punish the guilty, but also serve as a warning to future generations. And so the decision was made to hold a series of military tribunals, known as the Nuremberg Trials. The world's eyes would be on Nuremberg as the architects of the Holocaust were brought to justice. As the dust settled, the world demanded justice. The stage was set for the trials of Hitler's helpers. The task was monumental: to put on trial those who had orchestrated the horrors of the Holocaust. This was a task like no other, and its preparation was a feat of immense proportions. The first step was the gathering of evidence, an undertaking that required meticulousness and precision. Investigators had to sift through countless documents, testimonies, and artifacts to piece together a comprehensive account of the atrocities. They had to ensure that every single shred of evidence was irrefutable, leaving no room for doubt or denial. Simultaneously, the establishment of the International Military Tribunal, or IMT, was in progress. This was a body like no other, comprising of representatives from 4 of the Allied powers: the United States, the Soviet Union, Britain, and France. The IMT was tasked with the unprecedented mission of conducting a fair and impartial trial for the leaders of a defeated enemy nation. However, the road was not smooth. As they prepared for the trials, the organizers faced numerous challenges. The sheer scale of the crimes committed during the Holocaust was one such hurdle. How could they adequately represent the magnitude of such atrocities in a courtroom setting? Another challenge was the question of impartiality. How could they ensure that the trials were not merely victors' justice, but a genuine attempt at holding the guilty accountable? The organizers had to tread a fine line between retribution and justice, and this was no easy task. Furthermore, there was the issue of language. The accused were German, the judges were from 4 different nations, and the witnesses were from all over Europe. Ensuring that communication was clear and accurate was a logistical nightmare. Despite these challenges, the groundwork was laid and the stage was set. The evidence was collected, the tribunal was established, and the world watched with bated breath. The trials were not just a legal procedure, but a moral stand against the horrors of the Holocaust. With the stage set, the world held its breath as Hitler's helpers were brought to trial. In the courtroom, the faces of those who had once held immense power were now in the dock, facing the judgment of the world. The trials began on November 20th in the year 1945. The defendants, 22 in total, were a motley crew of Hitler's closest confidants, military leaders, and administrative heads. They were charged on 4 counts: conspiracy to commit crimes against peace, planning and waging wars of aggression, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. From the very first day, the atmosphere in the courtroom was tense. The defendants, once powerful men who had dictated the course of the world, were visibly shaken. Some maintained an air of defiance, while others appeared resigned to their fate. The whole world watched, waiting for justice to be served. The prosecution presented a plethora of damning evidence, each piece more shocking than the last. There were official documents, detailed records, and personal testimonies that painted a chilling picture of the atrocities committed under the Nazi regime. One of the key testimonies came from Rudolf Höss, the commandant of Auschwitz. His detached and matter-of-fact recounting of the systematic extermination of millions sent shivers down the spines of those present. His testimony, supported by the horrifying photographic evidence, was irrefutable proof of the industrial scale of the Holocaust. Another significant piece of evidence was the film footage from the liberated concentration camps. The haunting images of skeletal survivors and piles of bodies were a stark reminder of the human cost of the Nazis' crimes. The world watched horrified as the scale and brutality of the Nazis' crimes were laid bare. The testimonies and evidence presented painted a picture of systematic state-sponsored genocide that was beyond any horror the world had ever known. The world watched in disbelief as the true extent of the Nazis' crimes was laid bare. As the trials progressed, the moment of reckoning approached, the verdicts and the sentences. The trials, spanning months, culminated in a series of verdicts that would forever echo throughout history. The world held its breath as the judges, representatives of the international community, delivered their decisions. Of the 22 high-ranking Nazi officials initially indicted, 12 were sentenced to death. 7 received prison sentences ranging from 10 years to life, and 3 were acquitted. These sentences were a testament to the scale of the atrocities committed. The reactions to these verdicts were as varied as they were intense. For many, it was a moment of profound relief, a symbolic end to a chapter of human history stained with unprecedented horror. Others, however, felt the sentences were not harsh enough, that justice, in its truest form, could never truly be served for the millions of lives so brutally extinguished. But beyond the individual verdicts, beyond the sentences, the Nuremberg trials represented something far more significant. They heralded a new era in international law, establishing a precedent for the prosecution of crimes against humanity. No longer could state sovereignty serve as an impenetrable shield against international justice. The message was clear: those who commit atrocities against mankind will be held accountable, regardless of their position or power. Yet, the trials were not without their controversies. Questions were raised about the legitimacy of the trials, the impartiality of the judges, and the very concept of victor's justice. These debates continue to resonate in our collective consciousness, shaping our understanding of justice, accountability, and the very nature of evil. In the face of unspeakable atrocities, the world had delivered its judgment. The verdicts and sentences served not just as a punishment for the guilty, but as a stark warning to future generations. Such horrors must never be allowed to happen again. The trials were more than just a reckoning for the past. They were a beacon for the future, a testament to our shared commitment to justice and humanity. The trials of Hitler's helpers were more than just a pursuit of justice. They were a turning point in history. And it is here in this chapter we delve into the lasting legacy of these trials, which extends far beyond the courtroom walls. The trials were instrumental in shaping the course of international criminal law, paving the way for a new era of justice. They established a precedent, making it clear that individuals, regardless of their rank or position, could be held accountable for their actions in times of war. The trials also played a crucial role in framing human rights legislation. The atrocities exposed during the trials triggered a global wave of horror and outrage, fueling the drive to ensure such acts were never repeated. Consequently, these trials became the bedrock of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, adopted by the United Nations General Assembly in 1948, a testament to the world's commitment to safeguarding human dignity. Moreover, the trials sparked a global conversation about the nature of guilt and responsibility. They forced us to confront the uncomfortable reality that ordinary people, when swept up in the tide of totalitarianism, can commit extraordinary acts of evil. This understanding has since informed our approach to education, politics, and social policy, underlining the importance of critical thinking and individual moral responsibility. The legacy of these trials continues to resonate, serving as a stark reminder of the potential for human cruelty, as well as the capacity for justice. They remind us that even in the darkest of times, the light of justice can shine through, illuminating the path towards a more humane world. And so we conclude, The trials of Hitler's helpers serve as a stark reminder of the depths to which humanity can sink and the heights it can reach in its pursuit of justice. They stand as a testament to our collective resolve to ensure that history does not repeat itself, that the horrors of the past serve as lessons for the future.